What up? How we doing? Um, Episode like 4 or something of the Wake Up Bank Up. So today we got two slates. I'm gonna try getting the earlier, but there's a few pitchers that possibly could change, so I kind of had to wait. But should be out definitely within a couple hours. So we're gonna keep it short so you can just fly through it. But so today will be, I don't know where it's going to be the most difficult, either pitching, finding your number two, or which stack will actually go off, because there's good spots. There's good spots with bad weather. Not really bad weather like PPD, but more or less like, big ballpark, not good weather blowing in, whatever. But anyways, let's get started. So, like I always do, I do my rankings in order by point per dollar. And today it's really not even close. It's Corbin Burns. He's just good. He's averaged 30 points a game. Chicago's just not great. I know Milwaukee's a little bit better of a hitter ballpark, but he's going to be chalk. I think it's chalk you eat, cash and tournament. Number two, this one. So I was looking at the weather earlier, and it's in Minnesota. And yesterday, if you watched it was snowing and yada, 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 whatever. Well, today it's showing possible rain. Yeah, so it's going to be like 25 to 35% throughout the whole game. But like yesterday, it's going to be like that drizzly cold stuff. So the ball didn't really fly yesterday. I personally, being a ball player myself, hated the cold. I mean, it's just harder to move in general. So it's interesting, right? I think it's a shorter game, so it's the first day of first game of a doubleheader, not back to back. But so you're only going to get 7 innings unless they go into extras, and then you get a runner at second, whatever. So for the pitching side, I think it's a slight bump, even though it's kind of showing the wind's blowing out, so it kind of stays neutral. But the matchup, so Kenta's a good play. I like Kenta. On the other side, it's what, Nathan Evaldi? Yeah, Evaldi. So you ideally, he is such a hit or miss. Like, he throws 100. He has all the stuff behind him. He's thrown good this year, but he's a home run giving up pitcher to a home run team, literally probably the number one home run team in the league. So he's going to be difficult, right? His price is fine. I mean, Kenta's right there. So I think the chalk today is going to be Kenta and Corbin. But if you wanted to be different, I don't hate the Evaldi play. Evaldi, one, he's probably going to be 20% or less, even on a 5-game slate. I think Kenta. I bet Corbin and Kenta is probably going to be like 60-40% ownership or something like that. So GPPs, you might want to be different. Maybe you go different somewhere else. I don't know. Again, it's tough to find your number two today. I'm rolling out Kenta and Corbin in probably 4 out of the 5 of my stacks, and maybe for my third, I'll throw like a Joe Ross out there or Griffin Canning. But those three are just kind of flip a coin. I mean, the weather, and so let's go to the next one. So Joe Ross, St. Louis's lineup, especially it just came out, is pretty washed, but you still got to get around Goldschmidt and Arenado. Joe Ross has a short leash, probably 5 innings maxed. I mean, his ceiling isn't really there. I would say it's probably about 15 to 18 points, which is fine at his price, right? But that's his ceiling. So I don't hate it for sure. Maybe more of a, I can't even say cash game, but it's not terrible. I just talked about Evaldi, who's my number 4 point per dollar, and he's right above Griffin Canning. So I like Griffin Canning as a prospect. I don't think he's bad at all. And Kansas City, the weather's actually blowing in today, and Kansas City's a freaking huge ballpark. So I don't hate that play. Kansas City's prone to striking out as well. Griffin shuts down righties and gives up a little bit to lefties. But, I mean, in reality, who are you worried about? It's Whit Merrifield, or not Whit, Benintendi. And I like him as a player, but for pop, I'm not really worried about. Like Carlos Santana, like maybe 7 years ago, but I don't hate it. I might dabble with that, but I mean, Kenta is 1,000 cheaper, and Boston's lineup doesn't scare me. We'll talk about the hot bats in there later, but for the most part, Boston's lineup doesn't scare me. So I wish ownerships would come out. We might get them later, but as of now, it's Burns, Kenta, Joe Ross, Evaldi, and Canning. Hitting, so there's not really full stacks today. I guess there could be, but I don't think I'm going to be rolling out like a 5-3 today. I think I might be rolling out like a 3-3-2 or a 4-4, and then the best play. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll start in New York. So I'm an Aggie, and I love my boy Ross, but he has kind of given up the long ball as of the last couple years. His first couple years, he was pretty solid, but not so much lately. Let me see. Was that Ross? Yeah, so here's what's interesting, too, and you might know this already, but Ross gives it up. He's what's called reverse splits, meaning he gives it up to the same side. So righties actually are going to hit him better than lefties, which is good for the Yankees and bad for Ross because their best hitters are right-handed. So one of my favorite plays of the day is Aaron Judge. Aaron actually hits same side as well, so it's leading up to Ross giving up the bomb to Judge. Stan hits him well. Outside of that, maybe Gary. That's a solid 3-man. I mean, it's expensive, right? But I think with the 7-2 of Maeda, you can do it. So the Yankees, Toronto, and Minnesota are going to probably be your 3 chalk. Stacks-wise, not individual bats. Now, I don't love the Yankees as a whole because they're always the most owned team. But today, it's hard not to like them a lot. And on the vice versa side, again, the Yankees aren't necessarily hot. So it's an interesting spot. I would look at your ownerships if you can. See who's in the lineup batting where. LeMahieu's just a good hitter, but he's not necessarily like a power bomb guy. This game is in Toronto. And right now, at 9 o'clock Central Time, it is 82 degrees. So by game time, it's going to be 85. I mean, the ball's going to fly. So it's hard not to like him, but LeMahieu's just kind of on hot or cold right now. He's a good hitter. The whole team isn't really hitting the ball well. But my favorite play is Judge, then Stanton, then Sanchez, and then maybe sprinkle the rest in. But again, I am so 50-50 on the Yankees. I'm going to wait till ownership comes out to decide which way I go. If ownership's less than, like 25, I might full stack it. If it's showing like people are like 30 to 40, there's other plays, maybe on the other side. So we have Klubot versus Toronto. Same ballpark conditions, good hitting weather. Klubot is maxing out at 60 pitches a game right now. I mean, I know he threw 80, but he's just a shell of himself. And I like the guy, being a Rangers fan. It sucks it didn't work out here, but there's a reason why, because he's just hurt, and I think he's just getting older. He's not the same ace as we used to be. Now, I don't think you can full stack this game, only because if Klubot goes out in 3 innings, their bullpen is so good that you're not going to get a 12-run game. The only way that happens is if Klubot gives up legit like 7 in the first. So be careful full stack. I don't mind home run hunting here, or maybe even like a 3-man. Any of these guys. Obviously, my favorite would be Simeon, probably your top 4. Sprinkling, maybe one of these, but I wouldn't go full stack. There's really nothing splits-wise that tells me who to pick over who. Preference-wise, I guess I would go Simeon, Vlad, Bo, and then Grichuk. And then, sounds disgusting, but Rowdy after that. But only because Rowdy hit a bomb yesterday, and he's a streaky hitter, so maybe that opened up something. But stay to 3-man at most, personally. Maybe backdoor your 4, but I probably wouldn't go full just because the Yankees bullpen scares me. Washington, Wainwright. So I was looking at the weather again. St. Louis is showing by stats that it's playing pretty normal, which is not good because St. Louis is a pitcher's ballpark. But it does look like the weather's gonna heat up a little bit by game time, actually by 8 or 10 degrees. So I would say it's playing neutral to slightly above neutral for hitters, which makes this interesting. So Adam Wainwright, traditionally, I mean, we know the last few years he hasn't been horrible. He's been a ground ball pitcher, but where was I looking it up at? I think it was ESPN. And let's see. So he's traditionally a ground ball pitcher, right? And yeah, last game gave up 11 fly balls and 6 to 8. That's not traditional ground ball numbers. And there's another guy that's even crazier than this. But so while I was looking at that, so he's pitch contact, and let's say a slightly above average hitting situation, and he's giving up fly balls. Well, that screams my favorite play of the day is Juan Soto. I mean, hands down. Let me make sure Trey's in. I don't mind this as a sneaky little mini stack here. Even full stack. These 5, I would stay within these 5. And this 5, I wouldn't go full, maybe 4-man. Excuse me. But Victor, I love him as a real life player, but DFS, I mean, it's a long shot, it's a punt play, it's a fill-in, I guess. But these 4 right here, I mean, that's a solid little 2 through 4. So I don't hate it. Wainwright, again, his MO is limit hard contact on the ground, but stats show different that the ball is going up in the air a little bit. It's in a spot where I think Washington needs to win, because they're like 2-7 or something like that. So this is the second or third game back with Schwarber and Bell. So I would say Soto, Schwarber, Turner, Bell is my rank. I love Schwarber. He's a fly ball hitter, cranks the ball to a contact guy. Soto and Schwarber might be 2 of my favorite plays on the whole slate. I know Soto's number 1, but without looking at it, I might say Schwarber's my number 2. So same situation ballpark-wise. Joe Ross is Joe Ross. Don't really love anything here. I mean, Justin Williams, I know he did good yesterday. Carpenter broke his 0 for 47 streak, whatever. Yachty's on fire, and it's hard to count him out. Price isn't really there. This is what really hurts me. Like, I don't mind Goldschmidt and Arenado today and Yachty. Problem is they're 6K. Like, they're just not hitting like 6K hitters right now. Like, I love them as hitters, but maybe they've turned it around. I know they hit well yesterday, but just going with my gut, sticking away until I can see some consistency. But they're fine. I mean, maybe a little 3-man. One-offs, I definitely don't hate, but maybe a 3-man at most. I wouldn't full stack it. Not much against Joe Ross. I mean, he's a good pitcher. He could have been, well, he still can, but at one point I was all in on Joe Ross, but, you know, injuries and setbacks and, you know, whatever. Washington doesn't really have a great, but not really a bad bullpen. It's just kind of if you want it, get some. If not, that's kind of the way I'm going. Cubs, nope. Woodruff, not even worth looking at. Milwaukee, so here's an interesting one. This is the other one I was talking about. So Jake Arrieta, we know him as the ground baller gas can, right? So this was interesting. Milwaukee, as we talked about, is probably the most hittable dome in all of the MLB game logs. Look at this. Jake Arrieta is your usual ground ball specialist, right? I think Arrieta got both games with the wind blowing in, one in Pittsburgh, one at Chicago, both versus the Pirates, who were like 3-7 or something, and gave up 15 and 13 fly balls. Now you could say, well, that's how they do it. They give up weak fly balls. Well, I wish Yelich was playing today. I don't know if he is or if he isn't. It's not out yet, but I kind of low-key like Milwaukee a lot today, too. Like I said, New York, Toronto, and Minnesota are probably going to be your most popular stacks. So if you want to be different and go with the chalk pitchers, these are kind of the ways. Washington, maybe Milwaukee. We'll talk about possibly a little bit in the next game. But I kind of like Milwaukee today. Keston's been hitting the ball better. I don't really like Jackie a lot. He grades out okay, actually. And he's a leadoff at 3.3, and he's occasional bomb kind of guy with, speed. So I don't hate it. Maybe a last filler in. I love Yelich if he plays. I love Keston. I love Travis. I mean, if you're telling me a guy that pitches to contact is usually a ground ball guy, is starting to get the ball in the air, and again, pitching to contact, that's Keston, Travis, Vogelbach, and Omar written all over it. They are bad against strikeout, but if you're pitching to contact, I mean, it's hard not to like all these guys, honestly. Like Vogelbach, dude swings and misses or hits the ball 400. Omar, the same. Travis, the same. So really, it's these three lefties. Keston, obviously, I mean, that's a 5-man written all over it, Luis is hitting the ball well. I hope he breaks out of his shell and starts hitting the ball like he did in the minors, because I didn't really go all in on investing on him, but I did buy the dip on some Luis. So I don't hate it as your fifth piece. He's hitting the ball well, seeing the ball well. He was a great minor league hitter. Again, Jackie is your fifth piece as well. But I low-key like Milwaukee today. Angels, I don't like Keller. It's pretty easy here. I don't like Keller. Big ballpark, wind blowing in. Shohei's on fire. Trout's Trout. Jared Walsh is good against split platoon, 4-hole. Play him, one-offs. I don't hate the 3-man, but it's that simple. I mean, what more do you have to say? Shohei is amazing right now. Shohei has the 3 hardest hit balls in Major League Baseball. It's just, and he throws like 90, 100, right? So Trout is Trout. There's not much more to say. Kansas City, I didn't turn that off. So Kansas City is pretty easy as well. Canning gives up balls to lefties. Benintendi, I don't hate him. Salvador and Whit Merrifield are that good of hitters. I don't hate them. Santana is not hitting the ball well, but he's a power left-handed guy. Jorge, if he gets a hold of any ball, he's fine. Dozier the same. Taylor's just been on fire, but don't really like any of them. I do not recommend any kind of, maybe just one-offs at most. I really don't recommend even a secondary stack. They're fine. Boston versus, that's not right. Is Brios pitching this game now? Is Brios, oh, that's going to mess up everything. I did not have that ready for this game. Oh, let's see. Did they change this? It should be Evaldi versus Kenta, right? Sorry, this literally just changed on here. So we're gonna keep it Kenta, Evaldi. See what Draftkings has. Contest. Pitchers. So it shows Kenta and Evaldi. Okay. So we're going with Kenta Evaldi, which I had originally. I don't know why it's doing that. But not much to this one. Cold game. Ball's not flying very well. It's kind of neutral in my opinion because the wind is blowing out. Boston has been very hit or miss right now. I don't mind any of these 5. Devers is on fire. JD is on fire. Everybody's expensive. I don't hate a 3-man, but I don't really love it. If anything, maybe a filler with just JD or Devers. Verdugo might be a price play, but that's really about it. Last is Minnesota. This is versus Evaldi, not Rodriguez. This take is on Evaldi, not Rodriguez. Again, home run guy, not in an amazing situation. Nelson Cruz is on fire. Byron Buxton is just raking. Kepler has good BVP. Fill in. Who knows? I mean, Donaldson can hit a bomb against anybody. So I would stick here. These four, mini stack, maybe stack. They might be popular. Favorite play is Buxton, then Kepler, Cruz, Donaldson, and then really it's a pretty big fall off there. So maybe a secondary. If you're main, maybe a 4-man. Definitely don't hate getting one of these guys in because Evaldi's going to give up a home run. It's just being lucky to who. Byron's seeing the ball really well. That would be my first guy in. Cruz is just the best hitter potentially in the league right now still at 63 years old. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to keep it quick. Get it in, get it out. Do your research. Look at ownership. Check weather. And I'll post another video today, probably in the next hour or two for the next slate. Peace.